What is up, Nintendo Land? Welcome to Nintendo Open Air Podcast. Kevin is floating, Reggie wears Metroid, and Nintendo has no comment. Welcome to the October, Nintendo Land. As we head into the spookiest month of the year, we also get our share of spooky Nintendo news. We'll be exploring the recent events haunting Fortnite, the terrors of Nintendo forcing control schemes on unsuspecting players, and of course, more on the terror that is Bowsette. So put on your princess crown, plug in your Pro controller, and pop your glider as we float into October. Alright, so we're definitely going to start tonight with some of our still major obsession, and that is Fortnite. We recently hit Season 6, and there's been lots of changes going on. Pretty good changes, I think, more so than going from 4 to 5.
Yeah, they did reduce the number of rifts around the area, which I'm not as big of a fan of. But seems like that soaring 50v50 is here to stay. Or 50v50 really seems like it's here to stay. Because remember when we first started playing, they swapped it out for like 5 teams of 20 or whatever and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But now it seems like 50-50 is becoming a mainstay. This season's definitely got better. Well, yeah, what's the theme? Darkness Rises.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a Halloweeny theme, and the skins are sort of Halloween themed. It's kind of I like it. It's definitely got a better theme going than the road trip season last season where I couldn't really figure out what was going on. At least this one I understand, and now they're starting to decorate some of the houses and some like retail rows got a Halloween shop in it. The modern house in Loot Lake's got some pumpkins on the stairs. Tilted Towers has ghosts hanging from lampposts.
Yeah, a lot of those little touches like that are really nice details, and you appreciate it when you're going through a map and it's something you've been through many times, and then it's like, oh, there's new things to find.
Oh, that's
Nice to
different.
find.
Yeah.
But one of the big features that was added was from results of kind of the end of season events, and we have some rune areas where the cube that was rolling through has put down runes, and we had shadow stones for a few hours on the day of launch.
Yeah, we had them, and then they went away, and then they came back, and then they went away again, which are basically a stone that you can eat that um, looks like a little tiny cube and makes you invisible for a short period of time. Unless you know how to glitch it, in which it'll make you invisible for the entire game, which is why they removed it.
All right. And apparently, some they haven't been able to figure out because it's probably been in game less than a day total, which is
Yeah.
unusual for Epic. They're pretty good
And
about fixing things.
we just got porta fortresses as well, a bigger porta fort, and then they took those away as well. And those haven't been back either.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. Why those
But
were.
whenever there's a new item in Fortnite, you could guarantee it's going to be disabled within a week for sure, at
Yeah.
least temporarily. But like they did that with the ATK carts.
Hmm. They even did that with shopping carts.
Yeah. And there's a floating island now that moves around the map.
That's right. It's kind of they've kind of changed gears with it. I think at the end of season 4, going into season 5, we had the major missile launch event, and now it seems like they're kind of spreading out with the cube rolling all last season, and now the cube is floating on an island and moving around. It seems like it's more of a interactive event that's going to continue to
Yeah.
go throughout the season.
Watch this thing slowly crawl around the map for 2 seasons.
It is a little disappointing that it's kind of the same thing, but
There was something with the rocket launch where it really seemed like it was a big event for some reason. Maybe
yeah,
it's because the game was new at the time, but
it
um,
built to it, and they did a pretty good job of building up to the cube appearing last season. But then it's still like
yeah.
it's a
But
cube.
then after it rolled and rolled and rolled, all it did was landed in Loot Lake and made the lake bouncy for a week.
Yeah. Which was a terror if you played the game and the
Yeah.
zone was in that area. You were in for an interesting event.
So
But
it's still fun, still
yeah,
grindy.
Yeah, still fun, still grindy. That's a good way of putting it. But yeah, and we got some other big news for Fortnite, and it's really affecting other consoles more than us. Well, I guess it affects us too, and that is they finally added full cross-platform play. PlayStation has really been a beast about this, about not allowing people that hold a Fortnite account on PlayStation play with other consoles. And they finally have agreed to an open beta cross-platform play, as they call it. It just started last week, and they said they're going to still evaluate it and see if it works. But that's really changed the gameplay, I think, more than anything. It's playing with more experienced players.
Yeah, either that or we really started sucking.
Yeah,
When the new season dropped. But it was I really thought it was funny the way. I'll have to see if I can find Sony's wording here, but they like basically because the last we heard about Sony, they wouldn't allow crossplay because Fortnite is the best experience
yeah,
on PlayStation, and they wouldn't want to compromise that by allowing you to crossplay with other platforms where it's not the best experience. And then, like in this one, they were like, "Oh, we found a way forward. We found a path. It was hard, but we found a way to do cross-platform and still have it be the best on PlayStation."
yeah.
And like it was anything other than them flipping a switch. Um,
It was the article. I know what you're talking about. It was not just an article. It was from from Sony Direct, and it was very much like we've just discovered this new way, this
yeah.
new possibility.
Um, their exact quote was that SIE, which is I'm guessing Sony Interactive Entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
has identified a path forward toward supporting cross-platform features for select third-party content. And yeah, but they're calling it an open beta for some reason, which makes it seem like we might just take this away. But they did
Yeah.
see that they understand now that in this ever evolving video game space that it's gotten to the point where cross-platform experiences add significant value to players, and they recognize that. And they've completed a thorough analysis of their business mechanics required to ensure that the PlayStation experience for their users remains intact today and in the future as they look to open up for platforms.
It's
So
some
it's
good,
like
great wording
they
there.
they it's like they had a whole bunch of guys in lab coats like crossplay. Can we do it? How do we do it? Won't PlayStation just suck if someone else can play with their friend who has an Xbox or a Switch?
And there is sort of another theory out there that it's not really pressure for Fortnite that has moved Sony's hand, but it was from other third-party groups that are kind of putting the pressure on them. Like, look, everyone else does it. You need to get on board.
I think so. I know when whatever that I forget the name of it already. The whatever the Elder Scrolls mobile game is that's coming.
Hmm.
Um, Bethesda had some pretty strong words back when they had announced that to Sony that like, hey, this doesn't have to come to PlayStation. We're gonna have this crossplay on everything, and if PlayStation's not gonna have crossplay, then we're not gonna have our game on PlayStation. Which I think stuff like that probably got PlayStation thinking, like, well, if people just stop bringing their games to us because we're being this way, maybe we should start crossplay. But I'm really surprised. I'm a little disappointed in Epic that they allowed it to continue the way that they have. Like, I can
Yeah.
understand the crossplay being shut down, to some degree, but the fact that they would allow their third party Epic account to be locked to a platform.
Yeah.
Like if I've played it on PC for a year and then I log in on PlayStation, all of a sudden I can't. Well, I guess PC was okay, but I think PC and PlayStation were cross-platform. But let's say I played it on Xbox for a year and then went to PlayStation, my account was now locked to PlayStation and I couldn't retrieve it on Xbox. Like that's crazy. But
It,
um,
it has to come down to a money game
yeah,
because they have to have been. an all-in or an all-out situation with Sony. They either said, you go by our rules or you don't have Fortnite on PlayStation. It's the only way I think that
And
could
I'm
work out.
sure a year ago, when your game is brand new, having it on PlayStation is a much bigger. It's
Yeah,
gone from Fortnite needs PlayStation to PlayStation needs Fortnite now.
right.
Like, if they were the small fish trying to get into the big pond a year ago. Now they're the big fish, and they're going to be in every pond.
Right.
But it is like a video game civil rights movement. They've broken
This,
that barrier. It's the first video game, I think, ever that's been cross-platform with every single platform.
I just
It's mobile, it's Nintendo, it's Microsoft.
I know this may not seem like a big deal to us and to a lot of our listeners because I know most of us are Nintendo only, but I think this will change the future of video games. I think I think eventually, I don't know how long it will take, but I think consoles may change. They may become more open, I guess.
Yeah. Well, imagine how crazy it would have been if, like, your friend had a Dell computer and you had a Hewlett Packard or something, and you couldn't play together.
Right.
But, like, it's luckily there's only three major video game manufacturers and PC, but so it's less people to coordinate. But yeah, it's crazy to think, especially in this as evolved as everything's gotten, an online infrastructure. Like, everybody should be able to play with one another. And like I said, if you've got friends, you shouldn't you shouldn't have to. I mean, I think PlayStation's whole game was, if all your friends are on PlayStation, you have to buy a PlayStation if you want to play with them. Um,
Right.
and now you don't have to. You can say, "Hey, do you have any video game system?" "I do." "Well, we can play Fortnite together then." And Rocket League, actually, Psyonix released a statement this week too, basically saying that they've always been committed to cross-platform across every platform, and without saying, like, we're trying to work on Sony, they basically were saying we're trying to work on Sony, because Rocket League is another one that's cross-platform on everything except PlayStation. So hopefully PlayStation's relaxing a little bit, and that'll become a thing.
Yeah, I hope so as well. It it still feels funny though. I know I was playing with someone I'd met in Splatoon, but they were playing on PlayStation when they were talking with us in Fortnite, and it's just like it's a strange feeling to be playing on Switch and think if they're playing on a PlayStation. It's kind of
Yeah,
an odd feeling. So
but it's nice.
it is nice. I think
It's
it
nice.
will.
To, it's nice to have a game on Nintendo that's actually on Xbox and PlayStation as well.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, that's the real triumph, is that Nintendo's finally got some of the same current generation games. Even if they are Rocket League and Fortnite.
Yeah, I'll take them definitely.
Yeah,
It's definitely been a nice little change, and it's given a different feel to the Switch to a great degree.
yeah. It's like I said, it's on its path to becoming a first class citizen. It's it's
I
gonna
was just
take Nintendo a while.
I was just thinking since we have Barry with us tonight, uh, I know he's been playing more Rocket League than any of us have. I just wonder if you want to share any thoughts on the new uh, pass system. If you enjoyed it, what's the general feel for it?
Yeah, you're the only one with a Rocket Pass.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I've been enjoying it for the most part. They've tweaked a few things for the scoring system. Uh, the new season also started, and that brought in more new changes. So every couple of weeks, it seems there's some sort of new element to explore. You get a big scoring boost if you get so many weekly wins, they call it. So I guess if you're playing often enough, you get two matches or up to two wins a day, that you get a massive boost in score that about triples your points for leveling up. The prizes are nice. I don't really like, as much as I thought I would, the tying of getting item drops to your level. Because before, when it was random, anytime you got one, it was just like, oh, here's a nice little bonus. But now most of the drops you get are uncommons. They've always been uncommons. But instead of a nice little bonus, it's, oh, my item drop that I've been building towards happens to be the worst possible class of item.
Yeah, I've had that where it's just you get a dumb hat that you've already got 2 or 3 of.
Exactly, which isn't bad if it was random and you never know your next match you could get another, but when it's something that you've been working towards and then, it gives it a different feel. The Rocket Pass itself, it's a long-term thing. They've 70 tiers to get all the prizes uniquely, and then it starts giving you painted versions. And it just takes a while. I mean, they give you 3 months to do it, and the first one I was able to clear about half.
Yeah.
It's similar in Fortnite. It's like you start out and you think, I can get this done, no problem, but it really is a grind to get through a pass. I think.
Yeah.
More so than if you haven't played a pass-based game before, it's definitely more of an investment.
I've become like more and more or increasingly like annoyed by it because it's just like you're already paying money, but then they're trying to get more money out of the people who paid. Like maybe they should try harder to get money out of the people who aren't paying for it.
Yeah.
Because it's like you buy this thing for $10 where you feel like you have to complete it to get your money's worth out of it, but then it's like you have to grind 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day to hopefully get all the stuff, or you can just pay money to buy your tiers. It's like I don't like the idea of what Jim Sterling was the first one to put it in words that connected with me when he said, you're paying money to not play the game, which is really what these battle peer buying tiers is you're paying money so you don't have to play the game to grind it out.
And not only that, but the amount they want to gain tiers in Rocket League, at least, I don't know about the others, is quite high.
Yeah, Fortnite, it's $1.50 per tier, US, so it's $3. $3 for 2 tiers, and there's 100 tiers. So.
In Rocket League, it's 2 tickets per tier, and it scales if you buy them in bigger groups. But I priced it out, and I think it would cost me in Canadian about $50 to gain 30 levels. It's
occasionally Fortnite will do a sale where you can get 10 tiers for $10, I think. And I've done that both seasons. Even though I didn't really need to do it last season, I could have got there. I just didn't want to have to grind. I didn't want to have to play the game to get that far.
It is. It's almost like you're buying the things in the tiers. I mean, that's in the battle pass. It's like you're paying for that content, but then you are still working to get that content in some weird way, and you do feel you feel like you're not getting your money's worth if you don't get all the tiers and unlock all the stuff.
Yeah, it adds more of a feel where you have to go on regularly, whereas and I don't more and more games, even Splatoon, with the Splatfest and the items in
Crisco,
it's sort of twice a month or once a month at least that it wants you to go on, which isn't too bad. But with a lot of others where, you got to check in every week at least, or some of them it gets up to daily, it gets to be a bit much after a while unless you're really into it. And like I said, I found it starting to find Rocket League, it gets a little bit down, but they've been doing these updates where they add something and add something else, and that helps keep it fresh a little bit. There's something else going on or to explore. But
it's really moving to a more mobile environment because this has been my experience with mobile games. And the reason I stopped playing Fire Emblem Heroes is because there was always an event upcoming. There was always something you felt you needed to grind. There was always something limited time to unlock. And it's like you get to a point where I don't really want to play today, but I feel I need to play. And I think that's how mobile works, is to try to get those consecutive days, consecutive hours of play. And I don't think it translates well to a console game either.
Well, that's where these microtransactions and stuff came from. They came from mobile, and then like now I am absolutely still against. There are some games out there where you pay $60 for the full retail game, and then they throw microtransactions inside there, like not DLC, but cosmetic items or other stuff on top of that. And I feel like that's disgusting.
Yes.
And I'm hoping Nintendo doesn't ever get there, but it may just be the way video games are going, and there's no way to stop it. If there's money to be made, they're going to make that money.
I haven't minded what they've been doing so much with the season passes, with Breath of the Wild, with Splatoon, where they, add some extra content.
That's new content, yeah. And like I felt like what was the cost of that? Was it $20 for Breath of the Wild?
A little bit more here, but yeah, about that.
Like the first one they did, I didn't really care for, other than I liked that they added the option to have like your own little travel medallion that you could put down. But the second one was definitely worth at least half the price of the $20. And you never did that, did you, Jason?
No, I never bought it.
It's like if you liked Breath of the Wild and you wanted more of that, that's what that was just more of the game and more things to do, more things to see, new dungeons or whatever, not dungeons, but.
I just had somebody from work asking me whether the DLC was worth it, and that was basically how I described it. If you beat the basic game to death and you just want more, it's perfect. But it's not like you're really missing anything without it.
No, it's but it was nice, especially for me, because I had beat it, after whatever 2 months, 3 months of having the Switch, maybe sooner, and then. I didn't play it at all for months and months, and then in December, when that second thing dropped, it was like, hey, I'm going back in this world again. So it was nice to kind of revisit it and have new stuff to do.
I think that DLC is kind of still a slippery slope in a way, because I have had games where I've bought DLC for it, and you don't feel like you get that much added gameplay, or it's not really a benefit to you. It's just more stuff for the sake of having more stuff.
I thought the Mario Kart 8 stuff for on Wii U was good. It was
I agree.
cheap enough and a bunch of tracks. I didn't like what they did with Smash, but as I've said before, Smash isn't really my jam. So I had the game, but there was no incentive for me to just collect all these extra characters I was never going to use.
I thought the extra characters was cheap myself.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think the extra characters should have been monetized. I think
they weren't cheap.
Exactly. Yeah. But the costumes and stuff, right? All that kind of stuff should have been for pay. Should have been paid DLC, or maybe a DLC pack with this, all of the extra DLC characters at most. But I agree. They like, hey, all the stuff you used to be able to unlock in Smash, guess what? Now you can pay for it. Like that was,
And they
I'm sure they'll do it again.
They had the incentives too to buy both versions. So when I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, if I'm going to buy this, I really need to go ahead and buy the pack that includes both versions, because I have it for both versions. And it's like, that's even more of an investment into a game you've already paid.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. It's like, because they had like Bayonetta, and then there was like a Bayonetta stage, and it's like $6 for Wii U, $6 for 3DS, or $6.99, and you get it for both. And then Corrin, if you wanted for both, is $6. Cloud and his stage is $6. Ryu and his stage is $6. Roy was $5. Lucas was $5. Mewtwo was $5. And then they had extra stages, the Mario Maker stage, the pirate ship. Those were all $3 each. You could have gone in probably another $60.
Yeah, and this is after you're already in $100 for the two titles out, in the first place.
Another factor too is whether it seems like it was something that was supposed to be part of the original game. In Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, I didn't get that. It seemed like legitimate add-ons because it was new
Yeah.
whole series they were adding in. Like you never had Zelda in a Mario Kart before. You never had Animal Crossing in a Mario Kart.
You know
before.
what? People argued, and I would argue that there still weren't enough tracks in Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
To begin with. So I agree with you that the tracks were great. Like, you know what I mean? Everything that was part of the DLC felt like good, legitimate added value.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that argument that should some of that stuff been in there in the first place. Now, that said, they didn't sell battle mode as DLC because that absolutely should have been there.
Well, they did. They sold it to you for another $60 on Switch.
Yeah, they sold it as Switch DLC. You can,
Yeah.
they sold it Switch upgrade for your Wii U version.
That was the deluxe.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what people really get pissed off about is there's a lot of games on other consoles where it will release with day one DLC, where they just flat out boxed off a certain section that was already made and done. And we're like, we'll sell this extra bit. We'll hold this back unless you want to pay more money.
That's almost what they did, except there was a bit of a time delay, but that's almost what they did with Splatoon 2. There was that one wing of the map that you knew there was going to be something there eventually.
That is true.
Led to the subway. That's why they changed the two leading characters from the Squid Sisters to the other two, was so that they'd have an Octoling up there on stage along with a Squid, an Inkling.
No, you're absolutely right.
I didn't expect that, though. I didn't see that coming.
I did. No, from the day one, though, you looked down that entrance to the subway, and you're like, okay, when can I go down there? That, you know what I mean? Yeah. I agree with Barry that they definitely seem to be setting that up from the get go. I know what you're saying, Mo, but I mean, I think that was all planned out, probably before Splatoon 1.5. You know.
Oh, they probably had that. And they obviously were working on it. I think they did probably try to rush to get Splatoon. Well, probably everything was a little bit rushed to get on Switch, especially that first year. Although Mario, I felt, was a really nice, polished thing. I didn't feel like Splatoons always feel like, but this, they even the first one. Remember, like when you got it, it's like, Jesus, where's the rest of this game? Nintendo's like, it's coming.
Splatoon has had the nice little steady progression on both versions where they've added things continuously.
Right, and that's what I thought these additions in the plaza, like going to the subway and things, would be. And I think it was a little bit of sticker shock when they said, hey, we want money for this now, when it felt like when you had the game at the very beginning, it was planned to be there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But you put your money down anyway, right?
No, I did not buy
that.
No.
Wow, this is Mr. Splatoon talking.
Yeah, I put my money into Nintendo Switch Online instead, that I actually had set up for that. So
now you can play NES games for
Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, it effectively is day one DLC. Like Barry said, even if they delayed it for a while, that was just for the sake of delaying it for a while. But it was like, obviously, it was effectively day one DLC.
Did either of you get it as well, or am I the only one who picked up the Octo expansion?
I dropped $20 on it. I tried to play. I played about 2 or 3 minutes of it on a plane and decided it was going to make me throw up. And I haven't gone back to it since. But one of these days, I probably will.
One thing Nintendo likes to do with their DLC when it's levels and stuff is, here's a harder version of the game. Like, congratulations, you just bought a harder, less fun experience.
And to me, that what they chose to do is to sell more single player. And I don't know if anyone who has played the single player and like, I just love the experience of playing single player. And that's that's another reason I skipped it too.
Well, kids.
Some of it is harder, some of it isn't at all. And it's got a very different feel to it with the format in which it's in than the other single player mode. I'll give it that. And there's a lot of variety.
Kids out there have to decide if they want to keep playing online or if they want to play more of the offline mode.
Well, that's what I mean. Is
Same
I
price.
imagine there's got to be a large component of like 7 or 8 to 11 or 12-year-olds that play the hell out of the single player, aren't great at it, but you know what I mean, just are not ready for online at all,
My daughter's
but
played
still
it.
play the hell out of the single player. I would think. Yeah, I mean your daughter's not quite the age range I'm thinking, but you know what I mean. Like the same kids that would stand in the arcade for an hour, grabbing the stick and shaking it when it says, insert coin on the right.
That's
Yeah.
And they'd think they were playing, right? You remember those kids? It's the same kids, right? You got to give them something. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, there's got to be an audience for the single player. The single player in Splatoon 2, I didn't think was bad. Or in Splatoon 1, I'm sorry. In the original Splatoon, I played through that single player and thought it was fun, thought it was pretty cool, and kind of wished they'd expanded on it. And then I got my wish, and I was wrong. They really shouldn't have.
Well, Jason has replayed the single player in Splatoon 2 more than anyone else in the world.
Yeah, I'm 1,000% complete, which is the ranking you get for unlocking everything, and it was definitely a grind. Playing through it once, that was fine. It was fun at times, and then I was done. And by the time I finished unlocking everything, I was really done with it.
Would you say it was more or less? Did it feel like more or less of a chore than the single player in Splatoon 1?
It was definitely more of a chore.
More, yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
was it just more to do? Was it more crap you had to do in general?
He had to replay the entire
longer
thing with every weapon to get the special.
Oh, that's right.
thing.
Yeah. Whereas for Splatoon 1, you just had to replay like.
Well, it was behind like an amiibo paywall, wasn't it, in the first one?
Yeah.
Well, it was behind an amiibo paywall, but you still had to replay a dozen levels or something.
Yeah. Selected levels with
16 levels, I think it was.
But those felt more like challenges, and this just felt like pointless grinding.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were specific levels that it felt like were kind of maybe planned out in advance. Like, what if they try to traverse this level with a charger?
Yeah, exactly. It was a specific challenge where it's just like, okay, now just redo the whole thing. That's the same crap they pulled with Super Mario 3D World, where it's like, okay, you beat the game, now just play completely through it again with the 4 other characters. Like, fuck you. I'm not gonna do that.
Speaking of which, that's how the NES Online Ghosts and Goblins, or whatever it is. That's how that game goes. You beat it, you get to the end, you beat the final boss, and then it sends you back to level 1, and you have to go through the whole game and beat the boss again to get the credits.
Here's the thing about that. See, the thing is, I remember beating that game when I was a kid, and beating it once, and the deal is that most games back then, when you beat them, like Super Mario Brothers, when you beat it, you don't get credits. You just get sent back at the beginning. That's all you get. So it's like that. Because I remember playing, we spent all night, me and a buddy of mine, taking turns at levels and having to start over a million friggin' times. And we finally did beat the game, or, the first round of it or whatever. We got sent back to the beginning and we're like, all right, we beat it. We turned it off. I think at that point, I don't think we tried any further because as far as we were concerned, we beat it. It may say something about having to beat it again. I honestly don't remember.
I think it says press start for a harder quest or something. Doesn't it?
Does it change it?
I think
it makes the controls even worse.
I don't remember what it does. I think it does make it more difficult. Man, it's been a long time, and that's the OG classic game. And I don't remember, but I think it does. It does repeat back to the first level, but I think something is more difficult about it.
That game is one of those ones. I think that game only has any notoriety because it's one of those ones they make the youngsters play these days and go, here, try this. This is what your parents used to play. And the youngsters go, wow, this game sucks. It's hard. It's crap.
It doesn't really. I don't think it really holds up. It's got the little nostalgia.
The music's good. That's about all it's got.
The music's good. The mechanics are solid enough.
No, the jumping
But-
is terrible.
but they've
Jumping
been
mechanic in
improved.
that game was the
At least
problem,
it's
right?
consistent, and it had the cool momentum thing that's become, a part of Mario games from then on. The
What
whole
momentum?
ability to run and then jump, like it wasn't just a
Oh
standard
yeah,
jump, like
okay, yeah, fair
that
fair
was like
enough.
that's a
Your running
underrated
jump got you a little higher or a little further
or a
or
little
whatever
further,
than just
yeah.
a standing run jump or a standing
Or if
side
you've
jump.
ever
Yeah.
or you've been like, how the hell am I supposed to jump on top of that brick? It's like I got the height, but it doesn't seem to go. And then it's like you do a little short little run, and then it gives you just enough to, go up and back to get on top of something.
Mhm. No, I feel you, but right, it had the old school jump mechanic where they were trying to mimic real life, where once you leave the ground, you really don't have any control, right? When you're in the air, and that just doesn't
like
work in the
real
video
life,
game
you can
world.
break bricks with your fist.
Well, yeah, but right in Super Mario, you can control him while he's in the air. Obviously, once you're in the air, once you've left the ground in the real world, unless you have wings that you're flapping, you don't really have any control over where you're going until you touch solid ground again. Mario, on the other hand, right, he has a certain mild control of gravity. He's kind of like Neo in the Matrix.
Yeah, he is super.
Yeah, that's true. He is super. After
They
all,
put it right on the front of the box.
I know. I guess I should read better.
I don't know.
Talking about NES games with bad
There you
jumping.
go. Oh.
Not really. I was just going to say, have you played Ice Climbers? No, that's a terrible game.
Yeah.
That'll make
Agreed. Ice Climbers has the exact same problem where it's like you have to time your left and jump at the exact same moment, or you go, to your death, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get all the way.
Ice Climbers is just a case of, or you just frustratingly never get up to that second level. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say, you get up to the higher level and then you make one little mistake and then you want to throw your system somewhere.
If it wasn't for Smash, that wouldn't be a thing, right? Like,
I would hope not.
Like Ice Climber wouldn't be still getting brought up.
Balloon Fight's never been in Smash. What the hell is the excuse for that one?
Balloon Fight had a stage, and it's an Iwata game, so
the Balloon Fight didn't get a stage until the last one.
Yeah.
Ice Climbers, what was that, Wii version? Was that Brawl?
Balloon Fight got a stage in Nintendo Land.
Yeah. Well, Iwata was very, he made that, so he was very.
So somebody's got to be. Somebody must have been involved in Ice Climbers then. Somebody who was. Somebody, one of the old schoolers, because that one keeps hanging around even though it sucks.
No, I'm playing Ice Climber right now, and I think it's got great jumping mechanics.
I don't know. I think
Land. Oh, go ahead.
If they were looking for old school games that would had characters that made sense in Smash, then I can kind of see it because they look like they could fight more than, I don't know, your Excitebike icon or your Balloon Fight guy or
I
don't know.
Well, at least they've got a hammer.
I like the twin play with Nana and Popo, the two characters playing as one. It's kind of an interesting concept.
It is a neat mechanic, yeah. And that was they launched that at the same time they did the Pokemon trainer, right? That was in the same version. Do they do any other weird kind of character combos like that?
I thought, was Ice Climbers not in Melee?
Was that just carrying on the double dash?
That's a good question. I thought Ice Climbers. I was pretty sure Ice Climbers was not in Melee, but I might be wrong.
It's been a long time since I played that. I'm not sure. Since we're talking about Smash, I should probably bring this up. There was
You're right.
Was
it
it
was.
Melee?
Yep. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say there is a rumor starting to circulate on the Japanese Smash website. They have removed the little icon saying that there's a new character, and the last time that little icon by the new character page went away, we got Isabelle. So the rumor is maybe we're getting a new character announced soon.
I think the icon went away because they decided they're going to sell it to us instead.
Oh, that can be very true.
That's just me being cynical.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, they did DLC last time. They may very well do it this time. They can always add more stages and more characters. You
I
think
can't think
that?
of any.
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
have they officially said the Mii Fighter's coming back? Because I guess everybody's coming back. So
Everybody's coming back. Everybody's coming back.
Yeah,
That
that
means
one's coming
Mii's are
back.
still not dead.
Maybe this time they'll do it as a season pass where you get a new character each month for a year.
Oh.
Oh,
well,
But
there you go, the
only
Smash
if you
Pass.
play X number of online matches during the course of that month.
win X number of online matches.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of comebacks, I see Telltale Games released a new game today on the eShop.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I have fond memories of Sierra games and stuff, but there's Telltale Games going under. There was not a tear shed by my eye.
No, me neither.
We haven't really talked about that in the podcast. The news came out. If you don't know, they are shutting down and they're running on a skeleton crew to get out whatever it is that they're still working on. So many of the series that they had been working on are officially canceled. So,
I mean,
what was the new game? I haven't even seen that.
I was actually thinking I've played a Telltale game start to finish, I believe. Let me just confirm that it was Telltale, but I'm pretty sure it was because on Wii, I just went on eBay and was like buying games when I got a Wii because I bought it really, really late. And I had a Back to the Future game. And when
I picked that up on PS3. Yeah,
I was thinking it was going to be like an actual game.
So did I. Same here.
And then I was like, this is like a point and click thing. So my guess is that probably was Telltale.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, that's absolutely what it was. I did the same thing. I was like, sweet. Oh, why is this game in 4 episodes? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. It was not the worst thing in the world, but you really were you were just clicking through a story.
I picked up the Sam & Max one because that was a game series that I had played back in the day on computers. It was a point and click series from LucasArts. Mm-hmm. But I didn't realize it. I didn't realize at the time. Even then, I was like, "What is this? Oh, there's a Sam & Max. Wow, there's an actual Sam & Max console game. That's got to be better than those point and click things they had on the computer." Nope.
Yeah, it's definitely a very specific genre. But
I don't. Yeah, why is anyone surprised that they're going under? Is my question. Like, who buys this?
I'm surprised they're still in existence, period, at this point. I mean,
like, I have a bunch of their games that I just randomly either got, like, as freebies from one of those random online deals, or, it was thrown in with, for $1 with some other bundled games I wanted. Like, I have several of them, and I just, I like Mo, dude, I fired one up and was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
and I haven't really gone back, but I mean, it wasn't
Telltale existed to disappoint people.
Yeah,
like oh, the Batman game. What the hell is this?
And then they made there's a Telltale Minecraft game apparently, right?
It's like when Cracker Jacks went from putting shitty prizes into shitty stickers. Like, I was expecting a bad Batman game. This is like a book I can click on.
they
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you brought up the perfect point there. Minecraft story mode. I've never played it or read up on it. I assumed that it was an actual story version of Minecraft that had a playable story. No, it's just a story book that you can click through, basically, about Minecraft. I didn't know that until just.
I mean, it tells a little. It tells a little story, but yeah, it's an episodic point and click.
And it's not quite a book you click through, but it's like there's a screen, and you'll have a little character, standing in the corner. And if you click over here, he'll walk over here and look at whatever you clicked on, and say something about it. But
so is it got?
I used to love like Police Quest and stuff.
Yeah,
like
King's
back in the
Quest and
day,
all those.
the Sierra
That's
games were
exactly what
good.
this
Yeah.
game. That's exactly what these games are for those that are old
Although
enough
that
to
still
remember.
felt better.
Those had exploration in them as well, and there was some other little side things you could go out and do. With more modern
Take a
ones here.
shower.
Oh yeah,
Into your locker. Oh.
do they have sort of a choose your own adventure type story element, or is it
Kind of,
there's
but there's
side
definitely a right
quests.
answer though.
Yeah, like it's pretty linear. I don't know. Thinking
Yeah.
back, those Sierra games and stuff, they were pretty linear too. I know what you're saying, Barry. They had little side quests and stuff. Oh, did you get this thing? And my buddy's like, no, I never found that.
But I think they did want you to do. There was a thing because I remember, like, I used to play the police quest a bunch when I was like 12, which were probably too adult for a 12-year-old. But it's like you're, hunting down drug dealers and shooting them and arresting hookers and like. But there was stuff that you would do. It's like he's got a hostage, and if you click the wrong thing, he kills the hostage, and you have to know how to click through in a certain order.
Most of what I remember of Police Quest was just cruising around in the cruiser, looking for people to pull over or whatever else, like just having fun racing around town.
The thing I remember most about Police Quest was if you got out on the wrong side of the car, you'd immediately get run over.
Yeah.
They tell you, if you're pulling over on a freeway, police officer should get out on this side of the car. Well, okay. Thank you, Learn by Dying. That's never been a fun game mechanic.
That's good to know, though. If you ever become a police officer and pull someone over on the freeway, you'll already know what to do.
Yeah, that's I think about it too when I see a cop pulling somebody over on the side of the freeway, and I look over and I watch to see. Yep,
Is he following procedure?
Yeah, is he getting out on that side of the car? If they're over past the white line or whatever, then they can, or yada yada. But it's funny, just a random little tidbit I remember because I played maybe 10 minutes of that game, and that's about as far as I got. And I got run over like twice. And I was like, fuck this.
Every day forever.
That was like 3 or 4. Yeah. Which one was the Daryl Gates one? Was that 3?
That's the one I played, yeah. Because that's like there was like things you had to, it's like you could get out of the car and then you'd immediately get shot because you had to know that you needed to open the door and then kneel behind the door. And then shit, it's like if you didn't do everything exactly by the procedural book. And that had like one of my favorite that was before the days of them having like ways they tried to copyright the game so that you couldn't, just make a copy and give it to everybody. So they would have stuff
look up
like
part of the book.
Yeah, like if you want to get into your locker, you have to the combination to your locker is in the instruction manual in the box. Or it would be like, look on page blah, blah, blah of the manual and find the third word down or something.
The third word of the fourth paragraph.
Yeah.
I remember that in Prince of Persia. You get to the end of the level and there'd be a bunch of random bottles with letters above them. Go to this page, this line, this word.
That was
fine.
But then I ended up just getting a photocopied copy of the owner's manual when my friend gave me the game.
Yep. Back when I worked at the Egghead Software, we just had a shrink wrap machine in the back. So we'd just open it up, copy it, photocopy the manual, seal it back up. We did that for everything on the shelf pretty much.
Yeah.
And it was totally sanctioned by the company.
I just had flashbacks.
It was a different era back then. Sorry, go ahead.
When I worked for a TV manufacturer company as customer service, they would like release these TVs out into the world. But we in the call center that took all the complaints on them wouldn't have an owner's manual until the TV had been out for about a year. So we actually had a guy. We had a guy that was designated to go to Best Buy, buy the TV, open it up, photocopy the owner's manual, then return the TV to Best Buy for every single model that came out every time.
How fucking, what a joke.
So when you guys ever call customer service and think they don't know what the hell they're talking about,
they don't.
Probably because the company that they work for didn't provide them the tools. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Something tells me we weren't going to be talking about Police Quest originally tonight.
It was a hidden topic that you only discovered by actually recording the podcast.
Oh, we've unlocked the DLC for the podcast.
That's right. No money required.
Well, the key was Telltale, which leads to Sierra, and then turns into a whole bag of worms.
But how are we going to pull this back to Bowsette.
Can of worms. Sorry, go ahead.
That is kind of a can of worms. I'm not going to say anything else because I got in trouble last week.
There's a lot of worms out there wiggling for Bowsette.
So, anyway, we're not going into that. JCast News, which is a website based in Japan, contacted Nintendo and said, what is Nintendo's official stance on this? There's 1,400 drawings of Bowsette out there on the internet, at least. That's from last week. And said, what does Nintendo have to say? And their official quote is, concerning the drawings and other things uploaded to the internet, we have no comment.
But we're looking to sue each and every one of them.
They probably will. And I just think it's really ironic that at the same time that this is going on, Nintendo releases a, what would you call that? A sort of a guide to Odyssey artwork.
It's like an art book for Super Mario Odyssey, I guess.
And there happens to be a Bowsette character within that. So, I don't know. Kind of interesting.
Total bogus viral marketing, man. They set it up.
Maybe they did. But it's become a huge thing. I was really surprised to see that they're having an event in Japan. It's just for Bowsette. So
Bowsette is starting to go away, though. The new thing is guitar playing Rosalina. So.
Oh, is that the new thing?
That's the new thing. At least Nintendo's got memes again. Or maybe for the first time.
It's a current meme. But Nintendo says we have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, Nintendo doesn't embrace memes until they're a couple of years old.
I started to say in about 2022 they'll be bringing up Bowsette again.
But we're gonna see. I've already seen tons of cosplay. It's gonna be the go-to slutty costume for Halloween. This happened just in time.
Remember,
I guess not in time. Yeah,
they set that up too, man. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, unfortunately, the way this was timed, you're going to have a homemade slutty Bowsette costume because there won't be companies, unless there's a company sewing like mad right now. But it's already October, so if you wanted to be Bowsette this Halloween, you're probably going to have to home make it.
Out of Labo.
Ooh.
There you go. There's good use for Labo.
You could just dress up and feel like, what are you supposed to be, garbage? And you're like, basically.
That's pretty good.
I'm the robot suit. God, I wish it wasn't raining. Dude, that Labo would be an actual easy costume this year. You could just literally get any box and put it over and write Labo in marker on the front. Be like, I'm Nintendo Labo. Get it? There you go, kids. That one's for free. You can have that.
That's a cheap Halloween costume.
If you get invited, if you're sitting around your house drinking beer and the doorbell rings and you forgot it was Halloween, just go grab a cardboard box and a couple pieces of candy and you're covered. Although people will probably be like, what the hell's Labo?
Yeah, the two people that come to your house that would understand what Labo is will get it.
I feel like it's not catching fire like it should. I think the only people that are interested are the people that I thought would be, which are the ones who are making creative, cool shit to try to enter contests to win more shit from Nintendo.
Yeah.
But we'll see. There's we saw tons of stuff that they still haven't talked about. I really expected E3 to be like, here's all the new Labo stuff coming out. I mean, I guess the vehicle kit's new.
Yeah. I really expected it too. I expected it to be the year of Labo, but Nintendo almost seems content for it to be that niche market, which is kind of odd.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, what else can they be? There's very little they can do to make it a huge hit. Like, someone's going to have to figure out something salacious that you can do with it before people are going to buy it. Like, at least people could make memes about eating Tide Pods, and that boosted their sales for a while. There's really nothing even as cool as eating a Tide Pod about Labo. I don't see what they could do. Someone's going to have to find a cool thing that they can do with it.
Yeah.
That wasn't intended. Like, hey, if you pull this lever here and you turn this, you can smoke weed out of it.
Don't eat Tide Pods, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so 6 months ago or more.
Hopefully you didn't. But
It's
anyway,
not cool anymore, so don't even try.
speaking of things that almost are meme worthy, it's kind of an interesting thing to bring up, and I thought it was interesting when I saw it. There was a picture of Reggie surfaced on the internet, and what it was labeled as is the first picture of Reggie, something to do with the Game Awards. And I know I think it's Mo or Z1 brought this up and says, "Wait a minute, the Game Awards aren't now. Why is there pictures of the Game Awards?"
Yeah, he was with what's his name, Jeff Neely, something like that. The Game Awards host guy. He was hanging out with the Game Awards dude in his t-shirt and blazer.
Yeah, because I haven't found that's all he wears anywhere he goes. But what was on the T-shirt is once started as rumors, and that is it had the Metroid logo,
the Screw Attack logo.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, it's a picture from December, is it not?
No,
it's a recent picture. They were hanging out together, and he just happened to be wearing his Metroid shirt. I don't know. They might. Well, I think the thing is, Jason and I were trying to figure out. I think Reggie is on the Game Awards board or something
with Wolfgang Puck.
Yeah,
with Wolfgang Puck.
It was really sad when I looked at this image, and if you've seen it on the internet, to me the two characters the two people in the photo.
Reggie's a character. That's
Reggie
fair.
is a character. Yep, look like Wolfgang Puck and the recently deceased chef.
Yeah.
You would know him as Anthony Bourdain, but Jason calls him Tony.
Tony. I'm sorry,
because they're on that level.
Yeah,
Jason and Tony were tight, but
never met the guy. I'm sure.
I thought that was.
I've got a friend who refers to Kevin Smith as Kevin. He'll be like, Kevin was talking about this thing. I'm like, who's Kevin? He's like, Kevin Smith. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize you guys were friends.
I know, it's so weird. Like that's celebrity worship taken to a weird level. Like I had a buddy I used to work with who used to always talk about, that's like when Homer blah blah blah. Dude, are you talking about a Simpsons episode? And it's like he would speak about Simpsons characters as if they were friends or family. Like, oh yeah, that's that like the time Marge was blah 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 blah. And I'm like, who? What the fuck are you talking about? No, it's
although I do it with Reggie, I guess.
Man. We all do it with Reggie, but that's a different thing.
He's got a hyphenated last name. If your last name is hyphenated, you can automatically drop that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's contextual, right? It's like certain people, like Beyonce, doesn't need a last name.
Yeah.
Like Reggie. If any of us says the name Reggie, none of us needs to say any further. Everyone knows exactly who we're talking about.
You mean
in our circle, anyway?
Unless you're talking to your parents, they might think you're talking about Reggie Jackson.
That's true.
Mr. October, and it's October now. So there you go. But anyway, so Reggie was wearing this Metroid shirt. And because he's wearing a Metroid shirt, everyone obviously knows that he was like, I'm going to wear this shirt and hope someone takes our picture and posts it to the internet so that people will know we're going to be revealing Metroid at the Game Awards in December.
Wherever they were looked like it was, some sort of public event.
Yep.
He was wearing a Metroid shirt at a public. He was wearing a Metroid shirt at a public event or public outing, which presumably would be to promote Metroid in some way, shape, or form.
Well, it wasn't last year, I don't think. Maybe it was 2 years ago. Reggie appeared on the Game Awards wearing a little Metroid pin that had a Metroid on it.
Yeah.
And people were like, they're going to announce a new Metroid, and then nothing happened. So.
Yeah, but I mean, they've already announced the new Metroid, and he's promoting it. So it's like, okay, there's a new Metroid coming. I'm wearing a Metroid shirt. I don't know what more needs to be read into this.
It could also be that this is the only clothes that the man owns is the clothes provided by Nintendo. So
Or yeah, I mean,
That
in
could
any
be.
public appearance that he goes out in any sort of official capacity, would he not be wearing a
That's true.
Nintendo themed shirt
Yeah.
of some kind,
It's
presumably,
like
or a
it's
suit?
like a president appearing without a little American flag pin.
Yeah, pretty much. You would, yeah, Reggie, like, right? Reggie needs to walk the walk. He's the public face of the company, so he needs to, right? They do little short videos that try to make him look like a gamer, even though we know he's really not.
Yeah. I believe he played games back in the Super NES days.
I do. I believe he's a game fan. I believe he fires up, one of these hot new games the kids are playing these days every now and then and checks it out.
And has absolutely
Actually,
no.
that's about all I do these days,
Yeah.
so I can't
I'd
really
like
get
to
in
see
shit
his
for that.
Breath of the Wild save.
Nah, I bet you. I bet you it's about 15 hours, if that.
Less than an hour.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Played a
That's
few
what I was
minutes.
thinking.
He played through. I bet you he finished the plateau,
Exactly.
and that's it.
He's like, I got a glider.
Yeah, that's it.
He probably has
Where-
someone at the office. He's like, finish Zelda by the end of the week.
Yeah, that's true. In case
I'm sure
somebody
they
asks to see my Switch.
They've probably provided him with save files at various points within the game,
That's probably
so
true.
that he can demo them. I don't know. I don't. On the one hand, it's like, yeah, you're a poser. On the other hand, it's, well, yeah, you are the public face of a multinational corporation, so maybe you don't have a lot of time to play games.
He's just glad he's not still working for Pizza Hut, where he had to carry a pizza with him everywhere.
Did he actually work for Pizza Hut?
Yeah.
He was the CEO of Pizza Hut before he was at Nintendo. You remember the Bigfoot pizza? It's a big rectangular pizza.
That was
That
his.
was Reggie's invention. That's his baby, the Bigfoot. He's like, what if we make a pizza bigger and rectangular? I'm thinking
Like,
outside the box.
Well, like, okay, when I went in the old days, when I went to the local pizza place, that the local, elementary school had its little league, meetings at or whatever, like, they had square pizza. Then we thought it sucked because it was weird.
yeah. I've been places with square pizza, and it's like, this is wrong.
The dumbest thing about square pizza is you either get screwed with a piece that's half crust, or you score with one of the middle pieces that's just all cheese.
See, to me, the crust pieces are the good pieces.
No, well, at least not at the pizza place I grew up at.
Most pizza places now have completely forgotten what the crust is for.
That's a handle, right?
Well, it was a handle to a point, but the main purpose was to keep the toppings from flowing off when the cheese melted. Now they don't put enough toppings on to have to worry about that.
That's true.
Yeah. Nor do they put enough cheese to ever have to worry about it flowing off.
And now they put cheese in the crust. So.
Now it's
I wish.
grease from dripping off the side. Oh, not a grease.
Are we talking about pizza again?
We're talking about pizza. Reggie brings
new
that
Nintendo pizza.
Oh yeah, because he worked for Pizza Hut, which is an icon of a business success.
Yeah. He calls the local Pizza Hut. He's like, I'll take care of ordering the pizza. And he's like, I used to be the CEO.
Well,
I'm sure he gets free pizza for life.
Do you remember a few years ago, there were reports, it was during the Club Nintendo days, when certain Club Nintendo Platinum members got gift cards in the mail with a gift certificate for a free Pizza Hut pizza in like a card that was like signed by Reggie, like, thanks for being a fan or something. And it was just, there was a handful of people on the internet that were reporting that they got one of these. And I was like, yeah, he still got his old connections.
I still remember back in the NES days, I had a copy of the Ninja Turtles 2 from the arcade game, the port they made onto the NES. And in the back of it had a coupon for Pizza Hut or something. Yeah. I don't know how many years I stared at that coupon. Never ended up using it.
No, you don't use that. You keep that.
There's a Pizza Hut logo. Pizza Hut sponsored that game, so there's product placement in that game when you walk by. In the actual arcade game, it just said like pizza, but when in the NES version, it said Pizza Hut.
Yeah, I remember
had, like,
that.
a little logo. That was like the first time I remember seeing like a product placement thrown on a video game.
And I think they added like a couple of extra stages to the ice one and the Ninja Palace or whatever it was.
Did you
And
remember
Nintendo's got a Mercedes.
Space Quest series, the Sierra, back to the Sierra subject? Remember Space Quest?
I remember the game, but I don't think I ever played it.
There was one of them that they decided to do product placement in. That was really when Sierra was going in the toilet. And there was like your Space Quest, you're on a spaceship for a substantial portion of the game. So you have a view screen that you've got to talk to people on, this person, that person. You select who you're going to talk to and then choose what you're going to say to them, right? From one of 2 or 3 preset responses. Every single call you made had a Sprint ad, like at the beginning and end of it. Like it was a little 5-second little US Sprint logo that would pop up back when it was US Sprint, but it was the telephone company. There were a couple others in that one, but it was a little freaking annoying, and I'm glad they've kind of stopped doing that kind of crap for the most part.
By the way, I looked in a little bit. I was wrong. Reggie was the senior director of national marketing at Pizza Hut, and he launched the Bigfoot Pizza and the Big New Yorker. He also was the head of marketing for Guinness beer in the United States. He worked at Procter & Gamble.
Then he worked for MTV as well?
P&G, I think I remember.
He worked for VH1. Yeah, he also worked for Panda Express as the senior vice president of Panda Express.
So he gets the whole, Americans buying into Asian culture thing.
Yeah. But yeah, he was VH1 senior vice president for 2 years.
So what does a bunch of short stints at a lot of big name companies mean? Like
that he's got experience in the corporate offices. He knows.
But I mean, I don't know. Being somewhere for 2 years doesn't, to me, say that you did well there.
How long has he been at Nintendo? That's what I want to know.
It's been a while now.
10 years?
2006? Or no, 2003. He actually started as the vice president of sales and marketing there as well in December of 2003. And then 3 years later, he became the president and COO.
So
who was the quote unquote president when he was, VP of sales and marketing?
I do not know.
Because it seems like his role is basically still president of marketing for U.S. side of the house anyway. And if that's the case, I would say he's the one in charge of these events that occur in the same dozen cities every 6 months.
That's where that's where his buddies live. He's going to visit.
Right. Yeah, maybe he's the one who's in charge of My Nintendo, or at least the American rollout of it, versus the European rollout of it, and which we know gets better stuff and does more interesting things. Now, we know America's a bigger territory and it's a broader, kind of swath of the American, or the swath of the public kind of thing, right? It's a much harder kind of demographic to deal with. But I still think that somebody could do a better job of marketing for Nintendo. Now, they did a good job with the initial launch, but how much of that was Japan? Was the home office? I don't know. I would imagine most of it.
It started with a Japanese press conference that was dubbed into English, live dubbed into English.
And prior to that, right? Remember, and that's right. Because remember, we talked about how they were keeping him out of it at first.
Yeah.
But the initial video that the little 2-minute ad that they launched back in November or October of the previous year was, I can't imagine the U.S. division of Nintendo produced that.
That was a slick marketing company that they hired. Yeah.
Maybe, but I still think that Japan signed off, or even kind of was directly involved in that. I don't think that. I can't see that seemed to me like American division itself.
It seemed to me like they went to a marketing company and were like, pretend it's a PlayStation, make an ad. I'm like, or
it's a portable. Yeah, pretend it's a portable PlayStation
that does all these things. Here's what it can do. Pretend it says Sony on it instead.
Pretend
Make
it's
it slick.
everything that every console has ever pretended to be ever.
Yeah.
It's all of those things. Makes us
But that's a
mad.
classic. That's a piece of marketing history now that you'll remember with Nintendo. It's every bit as iconic as like the Mario 3 commercial where all the kids screaming like Mario or chanting Mario, and then it zooms out of the earth and they're all standing in a Mario face.
We all remember that one. We all remember who Karen is, right?
Oh yeah.
We know who Karen is.
Karen is the girl who goes to the rooftop party. She's got bangs.
Yeah, the bowl cut or whatever.
Or had them.
The first thing that came to mind when you talked about the Mario 3 ad was actually the wizard, which got me thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Between the wizard and the Super Mario Brothers movie and this new animated one they're making, you think it'll surpass its predecessors?
Third time's a charm, maybe.
I think this one will do better financially. Certainly, the other one was a bomb. This one's specifically targeted at children, which the other one somehow wasn't necessarily.
Wasn't really targeted at anyone.
Kids will watch anything.
But
anything animated.
But why are kids gonna want to watch this? That's the thing that I think
Kids
Nintendo seems to be missing. Yeah, I think Nintendo's missing it's the whole if you build it they will come mentality, and I don't think the kids these days, aside from that's that video game from Switch, they don't, you know what I mean? I don't think they give that much of a shit about Mario, and I think by the time the movie comes out, the last Mario game will be a distant memory.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think that Tomb Raider, for example, has had movies? Do you think the Tomb Raider movies have boosted sales of Tomb Raider video games?
I would say the two go hand in hand. Yeah, I would say one boosts the other and vice versa, or whatever. But
or Resident Evil.
Here's the thing about Tomb Raider that everyone seems to forget is the initial Tomb Raider video game really wasn't very good. It was the first time that polygons could make something that almost kinda looked like a hot chick. And that's really all Tomb Raider boiled down to. That's all its popularity. That's why Tomb Raider 2, 3, 4 were all starring Lara Croft, The Adventures of Lara Croft, Lara Croft and the somethings, right? Because she was the headliner. Is because
3D rendered female form.
Yeah, 3D. They finally, that was the first time there was a 3D that PCs were capable of rendering a 3D female form just enough fidelity that 14-year-olds could jerk off to it. Basically, that's
weird
Tomb Raider's
science
entire
predicted that.
Yeah, that's Tomb Raider's entire claim to fame. And I will argue with anybody that wants to disagree with me on that.
Speaking of which, I thought it was a little funny earlier today. Somewhere on the internet, I saw somebody was saluting video games with female protagonists, and SteamWorld Dig 2 was proud of Dot. And I was like, I never really considered Dot to be a female protagonist, but it's just a robot. But okay, I'm going to allow it.
Well, I mean, if people with penises can be considered women, I guess robots can be assigned genders. Right?
We need to get off of this topic and move on. We've wondered.
Somebody say get off. What are we talking about?
We're talking
women with penises. We're
talking about the next topic on our list, and that is another rumor that has come up, and that is about Animal Crossing Switch. I think it's a rumor we all hope is true, but according to the source, who is Pixelpar, who's been right in the past about different things, they say that Animal Crossing Switch will be coming Q1 or Q2 of 2019, rather than later in the year, which I think is what almost everybody assumes. What do you guys think? Is it humanly possible to get Animal Crossing?
I think it's very, very likely that Nintendo will tell us it's coming in Q1 or Q2. But I think then it will still show up around Christmas.
The last couple At least. Well, or was newly. Well, let's see here.
Already hit it.
I think they've had enough time they could do it.
North America in May.
Well, New Leaf came out in June in North America, but it was November in Japan. The
That's
other
the
ones all
previous
came
year.
out. Yeah, the other ones all came out November, December of their respected year. So it's hard to say. And do you think? I'm guessing this one's going to be a worldwide launch
That's what I was going to say.
because that's what Nintendo seems to be moving toward.
Yeah, it seems that way.
But I still think it's going to be a Christmas title.
I agree. I don't know if they'll announce it early. It could be a summer title, but the sooner it comes out, the less likely it is to the game I want it to be anyway.
When has
So-
Nintendo ever released a huge video game that they didn't hype for at least 6 months to a year?
Never.
No. Smash,
Well,
I guess. Well, no.
March would be 6 months.
Splatoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think if we do get it in the first half of next year, I think it's going to be May, June. I think it's going to be the very end of it.
If we get it in the first half of next year, it's going to be a port of whatever they were making for Wii U, and
Just
I don't
in time
want it.
for the summer bugs. And
Well,
fish.
see, that's always been a thing. Is it usually comes out so as it misses the major holidays, and a lot of major holidays are
Uh-huh.
in the summertime, and you always have to play for that full year, and you're waiting on summer to come so you can catch that banded dragonfly or whatever you're missing from your collection.
No, if you're that hardcore, you're just messing with the clock.
Well, you'd get the same thing even if it launched in February, because you would have to wait
Yeah.
for
And you're
New
waiting
Year's and
for
Christmas.
Yeah. There's always they do a good job of that with Animal Crossing, that there's always another event right around the corner.
If you're hardcore enough, you're going to be playing an Animal Crossing game for at least one full year
Yep. Yeah.
because you want to have all the events and all the bugs and all the seasonal items.
There's something new to see for at least a year in Animal Crossing.
Although in this new online world that we have, they could do a different Christmas gift every year or a different Halloween thing every year. Where keep playing in perpetuity forever.
See, that's the thing. And that's the thing, is they can do, they kept those crappy Pokemon Flash games up for years and years and years. They don't have to do too much. They just have to give me a hub, give me some sort of persistent online world. And it can be as simple as like what Mo's saying, where it's just constant, regular, holiday events and updates. But something new and different, kind of like, the regular DLC with Splatoon. It doesn't have to be that involved. It just has to be smart. Like Blizzard, again, because I refer to WoW a lot, because I played the hell out of it for years and years. They were very, very smart about their regular holiday events. They would have regular holiday events. They'd build on them every year so that they would have, all the stuff you liked about last year's event, but some new stuff. And, it was a lot of reusing the same assets and just tweaking them a little bit here and there. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like it was too complicated or too much effort after the first time, right? It doesn't need to be a lot of overhead. It doesn't need to be a big headache. It doesn't need, you know what I mean? It doesn't need a whole bunch of servers. It can be something real simple, but just something to feel like you're in a persistent online world, a little social stuff and a little gimme from the, a little gift every now and then, or a little event update or something. And they can do it now with Animal Crossing. It doesn't all have to be built in the game from the get-go. Like you're saying, it can be different every year. It can be every event can be something new.
And they can just have online events throughout the year that they can create new events. Or this weekend only, there's going to be a special fish. It's just like with Pokemon Go, how they do stuff where there's timed events and stuff. Yeah, they can
Pokemon period, how they do stuff.
Yeah.
Like, right, for forever they've go to GameStop and
get a QR code.
Yeah, or whatever. It's the exact same kind of thing, just now distributed digitally. Or
Yeah.
in Pokemon
Just like
these
Pocket
days.
Camp, which is exactly what you don't want to hear.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That's,
But you're right. It's not unprecedented. It's the mobile games are all doing it. Sorry, Jason.
yeah, that's my worst fear is like Barry saying. We don't want to go to more situations like Pocket Camp. I don't want to be, like we were talking about earlier, I don't want to be forced into feeling I need to play Animal Crossing all the time, or I'm going to be missing out.
Oh, hey,
But
if
I'll
you
do
want
it.
to participate in the Christmas event, you got to buy a ticket for $3 actual.
I don't want to
I
have to
was
grind more than I do. I guess
I was
Or
okay
that,
with
or that.
fortune cookies and New Leaf giving me a reason to use the play coins when nothing else would, but I don't like the fortune cookies anymore now. There's Pocket Camp, so
Yeah.
I don't want to see fortune cookies or anything. But like I said, I've always said, Animal Crossing is like the perfect game to throw a ton of DLC into and completely turn off the fan base. But
I hope
I
that
can
they.
see them doing stuff.
I do hope that they pick things up a bit from New Leaf because it was a long time between New Leaf's launch and then when we finally got the campsite and all the Leaf tickets
Yeah,
and things there. I hope if they're
that was
going
a
to do
weird
something,
afterthought. Yeah.
yeah, I hope it's
Yeah.
more closer together. I
Maybe
guess.
they'll have something cool like you have to pay $5 real every week to see KK Slider perform.
That would be terrible.
You'll feel like you're going to a real concert.
You got to throw an actual, or maybe he'll just be like a street performer, and you got to throw an actual dollar in his hat
Yeah.
to get a copy of his song.
Hey man, this song I'm only gonna play for the rest of this month and never again. So
Would you pay
buy
a dollar?
copy, yeah.
Yeah. Would you pay a dollar
Yeah.
for a KK Slider single?
No.
Anybody? No.
No.
Even if it was like Mo said, it's only available for that month. You never can get it again.
You're gonna
That's
be
something.
incomplete, Jason.
Even if it's Go KK Rider.
Yeah.
We all love Go KK. That's something I hope they move away from in the next series is having so many things. We got a gem our closets full of so many things you can only get during a season that you can never order again. I hope that's not as much of a thing.
Yeah.
I bet you they'll let you pay $5 to have an online bank to store all your Animal Crossing stuff in.
By the way, did you guys hear about the thing they've done with the past event items in Pocket Camp, where you can now every so often they bring them back, and you can get them
No.
if
For a price.
for a huge price. Like if you've been buying fortune cookies, each cookie you buy you get a stamp. If you get 10 stamps, you fill a card. And you can trade these cards in for some of these past items or items from the current cookies. Now, for the current cookies, if it's a common item, it's one card. If it's an uncommon item, I thought it was going to be 2 cards. No, it's 5 cards. And the rare item is 10 cards full. So 100.
What's that? $100?
100 cookies that you bought. Now, Leaf tickets, you don't necessarily have to buy. You can get them other ways, but that's a lot of Leaf tickets. And odds are you had to buy a fair chunk to get
Luckily,
that.
when it comes to Switch, you can just buy the Leaf Pass and grind your way, catch 100 fish, and you'll go up a tier.
Don't say things like that. That's not even good. That'd be a very cruel world to live in.
You can trade your fish in for a tier or trade your bugs. You can go to the museum and trade them in, and Blathers will give you a tier if you can catch them this many fireflies.
Yeah, I recently passed level 100 on Pocket Camp. I don't know if I should be happy with that or not. I'm leaning towards not.
Well,
Wow.
well, speaking of mobile games,
That's a wow from the guy who still plays Pokemon Go.
hey, I spun my first Pokestop today.
I'm very proud of you, Mo.
I know.
It's like one small leap for
Why exactly?
Nintendo Land.
I was walking, and I was like, "Hey, here's something I can do while I walk." And then I was like, there's like 5 Pokestops in this area.
And it's still installed on your phone, huh?
I actually just installed it about
Why
a month
exactly?
ago. Because the kids all into Pokemon somehow.
Oh, that's right.
So I
Don't
was like,
discourage him.
and sometimes we'll go on walks and stuff. So I was like, hey, maybe she can get into the idea of catching, but she doesn't give a crap about anything that's not Pikachu. So unless a Pikachu is going to appear, she's not interested. I have not seen a Pikachu appear. So.
And that's the thing. I never like. Is she into Pikachu because he's the one that's on, like the
Everything?
main one that's on everything, or
Probably.
is Pikachu just inherently the cutest one, and they knew that, so they put him on everything?
Yeah, that might be because it's not a particularly powerful Pokemon, right? Like,
No.
No, it's actually kind of crappy one.
so I think it's just, but I don't know. It ain't got shit on Pancham. Oh.
It's the
Make it
TV
cute.
star.
But yeah, it's the mascot. It's the Mario of the Pokemon games. It's the one that everyone knows. So, but I don't know. I don't know where she gets it from. Maybe it's the Netflix. I don't know. But she didn't have much interest in it. But I just popped it open. I was like, let's just see what happens. And usually, what ends up happening with me is I throw like 7 Pokeballs to catch any given Pokemon, and that's after feeding it berries and stuff. So
Much to learn, you have.
well, it's like I didn't realize you could feed it berries and get like 3 great throws and still not catch it. Like,
Got to work on those curveballs, man.
I guess so. I don't know. I it's one of those things like I almost was out of Pokeballs today, and then I ended up getting like 30 more. And I'm like, oh, I see how they do it because every time you level up, you get like 20 or something or 10 or.
That's right. I forgot you did get level up Gibbs.
So who knows? We'll see. I sent Jason a gift as well.
Nice and gift.
I've now got a friend, so
That's right.
that's a thing.
We're there. Pokemon Go community does exist.
I will say that my streak for catching Pokemon has never exceeded 1. So there you go. But a new mobile game has finally come out.
That's right.
Heavy hitter. You want to talk sales? Wow.
Yeah, Dragalia Lost. And if you haven't been on anything anyway related to it, because I've been seeing ads for this game for a while, finally launched, and we've actually got some numbers on its first 5 days of revenue and downloads. So after 5 days, it's had 800,000 installs worldwide, and it's made 3.5 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
So to put that in perspective, Pocket Camp in the same time frame made 4.6 million, Super Mario Run 8.3 million, and Fire Emblem Heroes 13 million. So far out of all of Nintendo's apps, it did not list Miitomo. I don't know where that would fit, but out of all of the apps so far, it's at the bottom.
Although Jason and I were kind of talking about this the other night, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't know why they're even making a deal out of this, of showing this graph, because it's like the worst performing one ever in the first 5 days." But I also said this is also the first one that didn't have an established IP behind it.
That's true.
Like, this didn't have Mario or Pokemon behind it, and it still did almost as well as Pokemon. Pokemon started at 4.6, and this is at 3. Although I still have no idea how Fire Emblem ended up doing 13 million in its first 5 days. Because if you would say, I'm going to put out a mobile game for Mario, Pokemon, and Fire Emblem Heroes, or Fire Emblem, which one do you think is going to do the best in the first 5 days?
Pokemon is not listed here. You're talking about
Animal Crossing. Sorry. So yeah, Mario, Animal Crossing, or Fire Emblem. First 5 days, which one does the most money? I don't think anyone would be like, well, obviously Fire Emblem. In fact, Fire Emblem will do 3 times the amount of business that Animal Crossing does in the first 5 days.
I don't know if it's exactly a fair comparison, though, if the Mario game has a $10 upfront cost, whereas the other ones are free to start.
That's true. But Mario even did better than than Pocket Camp when Pocket Camp was free to play. Mario made twice as much almost. So I don't know. This is one of those ones that people probably don't know about yet. It's probably not out there yet, but there are probably people that look for RPGs and and it'll catch on word of mouth. And still, I don't know what it costs to make this game, but $3 million in 5 days is a lot of money to
Yeah.
me.
Worldwide, though.
Eh.
I don't know.
It's a thing.
Yeah, since we're talking about this, we do have our resident expert on Dragalia Lost with us. So what are your impressions so far, Max?
She has put in $1 million into it.
I wish. No, I've been enjoying it. It's all the artwork for it's very cute. All the characters.
How does it
Go ahead.
compare? How does it compare to Fire Emblem Heroes as far as the basic mechanics of the game?
You actually move your characters around, and you have to tap on the screen.
You actually do stuff in this one.
Yeah. Although I told Jason, there's no auto battles. You have to actually play. And like an hour later, I unlocked auto battle.
Oh no!
There's like barrels and stuff, and you'll get like sparkly mushrooms and trees. If you hit them, you get coins or healing potions and stuff. But if you do the auto battle, you don't do that. You don't get all that. So.
Are the battles sort of short like they are in Fire Emblem Heroes?
Yeah, they are kind of. It's not a lot of enemies, or at least so far. I only just started the second chapter. It's not too hard yet.
Is it linked to my Nintendo in any way?
Yeah.
Did you get some coins for
some platinum coins or something?
I haven't looked yet.
What are the reviews? Did you guys mention it already? What are the reviews on iOS? On Amazon or on Android, they appear to be 3.5 out of 5.
And looking on my Nintendo, it does not look like they incentivized in any way. So there's no reason to get this.
It's according to
not for some friends of ours anyway, but go ahead.
According to this, it's 4.8 out of 5 on iTunes.
Oh wow, that's quite a difference. I see a lot of 4 and 5 stars here on Android, and then people complaining that it's a gacha game.
Yeah, it is. You have to do summoning for your characters. If you do 10 at a time, you're guaranteed at least 1 4-star or 5-star. That helps.
That's part of the reason why I did not get into it. One, I just didn't want to put more time into a mobile game.
Yeah,
right. But the gacha part is really bad. It was bad in Fire Emblem Heroes. I mean, I never put money into it, but you really had to grind to get that, and it was very mixed results. And I'm assuming that the results are about equally the same.
Yeah, Jason's a huge Fire Emblem. He's the Fire Emblem guy, and he didn't hang around Fire Emblem Heroes.
I've played it for
longer than Animal Crossing, and you are.
I played it for a very long time, but it just got to be too much of a time sink, too much of a requirement to play.
Yeah.
I still play it, but there's parts of it that I don't do. Like they have like fire blessing or water blessing. I don't even do that. I ignore that.
It becomes more and more and more complicated, and it seems like they're more pressure. Like as soon as you finish this event, there's already another event going to happen in 3 days or something.
Yeah.
You feel you need to play as much as you can on each one.
There was another little bit of Nintendo Online app news this week that I thought was a funny headline. 25% of Nintendo Switch owners have downloaded the online app. The launch of the online service drove a 76% increase in installs globally. So 1 in 4 people that have a Nintendo Switch have now downloaded the app for the phone, and I'll bet you even less have opened it a second time.
Wow.
But They were like, "Hey, the online's launching. I better download this app and see what this is all about. What can I do? Oh, nothing. All right, I guess mine's broken."
I guess I just paid $20 for nothing.
Yeah, this is an extra pillar that I got.
Well, again, $20 for how many NES games? Is it still only 10, or have they added more now?
Just 10.
It's 20, wasn't it? It was 20 games.
Yeah, I think it's
20
20.
launch. Okay, so
Yeah.
so $1 a game. That's still
And there's
better
3 more
than
coming on the
NES
10th
Classic.
of this month. October 10th, they're releasing the next 3.
That's right. They confirmed that today. That just reiterating what games it will be, and then it will be on the 10th.
Yeah.
I don't know. $20. I mean, you just look at it that way. $20 for, let's say we get
worst virtual console since the launch of the Wii.
Yeah, for 18 games you don't want to play.
Okay, let's say that out of they give us a total of 40 games, and that $20 is for the year. And out of those 40 games, let's say 10 of them are worth it.
Yeah.
Still cheaper than the virtual console was on Wii U.
Make no mistake, if you never had a Wii, a Wii U, or a 3DS, or an NES Classic, or Animal Crossing for the GameCube, or a PC or Raspberry Pi, this is awesome.
Or one of the NES or Super NES minis. Or
But yeah, that app sure is dog shit.
If you don't play Splatoon 2, I don't know why you would even download it.
Yeah, nothing else. There's nothing else in that app yet. Still, a year later.
Because you can talk to your friends when you're playing your NES games now.
But that app has been in existence for over a year. Has it changed at all since it launched?
No.
Very
Not
much.
one friggin' bit.
Much like the user interface of the Switch, it's pretty much looks the same as it did day one.
Right? We all expected at least, we'll get some basic themes or something.
Can't wait till this gets fancy.
Maybe we'll get some colors instead of just black and white at the very least. You know, maybe the app will get some additional functionality when the online service launches. Nope, give us your $20. Thank you.
Yeah.
Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Take your free Nintendo games and don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
Well, now they can take all the money that they got from the subscriptions, which I'm still waiting for the I'm sure they're gonna at some point say we've sold through this percentage of Nintendo Switch owners are subscribers to the online, because they'll say something like that to try to sell the rest of us on it.
I know. Congratulations, folks. We just
I did knuckle down and buy it. Yeah.
The next Switch update.
Well, we crowdfunded the smartphone app, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe now they'll do something with it, and we crowdfunded special offers. But I am a paid member now. In the worst way, it was like 3 a.m. and I had gotten a reward on Rocket League, and I booted up Rocket League to claim my free reward from watching their Twitch stream, and I couldn't connect to Rocket League server because I didn't pay for the online. I'm
that
like,
sucks a dick.
Bitches. so I was like, fine, take my money.
It's like, fuck you. I have to pay to get my. I have to pay $20 to get my Rocket
Twitch
League
reward
item.
on Rocket League. Yeah,
that's a pisser.
And I had an alternate account on Rocket League that I used to use for smurfing, and it's not on the paid system, so I couldn't even get my season rewards from last season in Rocket League on that account because it's not paid.
Oh, that's right. You didn't do family. You did individual.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can't use alts anymore.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't like alts enough to pay an extra $15.
I think your alt may have to find a foster family somewhere.
Yeah, we'll see. I could always do that too. But,
right. You still have your main account as your own, but
yeah,
your alt could maybe. Yeah.
My alt could join a family. But yeah, so I am now subscribed until next year, for better or worse, to this thing. I'm on the train.
I'm into Nintendo for $25 a year these days. Well, I'm sorry. No. I'm into
No, because you
Nintendo
did the
for
34. Yeah.
yes, I did. So I'm into Nintendo for basically $40 a year these days because I have the 5 extra for the Pokebank. Is anyone else paying for the Pokebank anymore?
No.
No,
I've
mine
still got
expired on me and all of them disappeared.
What did they?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's all gone. All my
Speaking of
records,
that,
Pokedex, whatever they added to it.
How long ago did it expire? Because like I said, I was reading online, people were saying, oh, mine expired for 6 months, 9 months, and they got it back.
It's probably been over a year.
Yeah, I don't know then. Probably not, I guess.
I think we might have forgotten to mention, or I don't know if it was out. Did we mention last week that Nintendo has come forward now and said about their expiration that your cloud saves will be retained for at least 6 months? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling my buddy going back to WoW, my buddy that used to work at Blizzard talked about how that worked over there, and it was, really it was just a case of do we have tapes of this or don't we? And it depends on how static their retention policy is. Like, you know what I mean? Most companies say, okay, well, we have a policy of keeping stuff for 6 months. Do they destroy stuff after 6 months? No. Stuff's still there until they don't have room for it anymore. But they only guarantee that they'll keep something for 6 months or a year. So odds are and it just depends. You never know. Odds are they're going to have stuff for probably at least a good year, at least at the start, because it doesn't seem like you know what I mean? What are they storing? They're not storing much. Like they could store the entire world's cloud saves on like a couple hard drives and a server in Switzerland or something. Yeah. Like it's not, it's a tiny amount of data that they're storing. So I don't see this being a big deal. They can keep it for a very long time if they really want to do it. They just, they'll set some point where they go, okay, well, we won't get it after, if it's anything older than this, sorry, you're shit out of luck. But we'll see. I mean, I don't see any evidence that they're building any sort of major online infrastructure out of this $20 a month.
I don't think so. I pretty much automatically just assumed that it was just kind of
going into the coffers
and profit and general maintenance. Maybe, it's a little something, because you do have to have, if this thing takes a shit on Christmas Day, as Nintendo's online infrastructures are known to do, you want to have somebody that's at least paid, that's supposed to be able to fix it and get it up and running again, and people checking for flaws. I mean, there is money that Nintendo has to put out for an IT guys and online people that deal with, is there a cyber attack coming?
I had a long conversation over beers the other night with my Blizzard buddy about how Blizzard, it was World of Warcraft when they went into the games as a service business. That was when they went from 150-man operation. They just ballooned into like a 2,500 person global company, and they went from being profitable to losing money, even though they had the most successful game in existence at the time. Like, you know what I mean? It just grew so big so fast that they couldn't manage it. And that's why they eventually got bought out by Activision. Or
with Fortnite, like Fortnite, I'm sure has way more free players than paid ones. But when they're saying that, like, last month they had however many it was, 1 million people playing it, like they're paying for that, server.
Well, yeah,
to support that kind of traffic. Like,
and again, Fortnite, I mean, that's the other thing about it, is Epic is a company that has grown up building, game engines and back-end infrastructure type things. So I think Epic gets it, as far as games as a service. Another thing about it, when something's free to play, people's demands are a lot lower. If you're not paying for it and it's buggy, you don't complain that much. And even if it's something that you threw a few bucks at here and there, you know what I mean, versus something that you paid $60 for out the door, you're going to demand perfection. So they can get away with it a little bit more. I don't know. It's just a different kind of thing, and we'll see what Nintendo does with it. But I mean, they, like you said, they have models. Epic is a good model. You know, Fortnite's a good model to follow if they want to do a game as a service. I mean, hell, and it's
everyone else was jumping on that train.
And at its core, it's the same exact model as Sub Wars, isn't it? Well, Sub Wars, you actually got some tactical advantage, but they tried to limit it, right? Sub Wars, they tried to limit the tactical advantage as much as possible. In fact,
Sub Wars really was pay to win, though. I mean, they tried to hide it. You could, if you're really, 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 really good, you might get lucky, or if somebody's really, really bad, you might get lucky. But
well, okay,
you had to drop superior in the paid
You had to drop $10. It was the equivalent of the battle pass, right?
Yeah.
It was only $10.
But that was a one-time.
And it was it was a one-time permanent purchase. And yeah, it's only $10. And then remember the DLC subs. I'm thinking more about those as like kind of the equivalent of the paid, microtransaction stuff.
Yeah.
They had them and they were good, but they weren't as good as the stuff you could unlock with the regular $10 purchase. And again, the free sub, the second free sub you got was decent. One of those would turn up in battle from time to time and do okay. Yeah. Right? Anybody who had the basic sub sucked a dick. But that
well, they were both. Did you get both of them from the get-go? Because there was the Sea Hound and there was the.
You had to complete a few of the one-player things to get the second one. I think you had to do something to get the second one.
But those matches weren't 100-player matches either. It wasn't as much overhead to get them to get the servers together. Like to get not the servers, but to coordinate the players.
Yeah, 4-on-4, very slow-moving shooter. See, that's the other thing about that game that I always thought about is that was one way they solved network latency issues was, well, the game moves at like a tenth the speed of a normal shooter anyway. So that's perfect. Like that totally, like any sort of network latency just kind of becomes a non-issue.
It's a slow motion shooter.
Yeah. So it made a good test. And then Splatoon comes along and it's basically the same general mechanics with the 4-on-4 3-man matches and whatever and the same matchmaking setup. But it's just now it's running at full speed.
Yeah.
I still want another Steel Diver though, even though it is just slow-mo Splatoon.
We'll see. They might revisit it. I think it's more likely than Rusty's Real Deal.
True. I definitely don't want another Rusty's Real Deal.
Very few people do. Sorry.
Rusty can just go away and be forgotten as far as I'm concerned. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
So I wanted to just jump ahead to a quick topic there since we're talking about this, because this is what came to my mind when I heard this news story. So we've talked about several times the game coming out in 2019 that Nintendo's been promoting, which is Daemon X Machina. So recently it's come up that Amazon is canceling pre-orders for the game due to a lack of availability as their offered excuse. And also GameStop, Walmart, Target are all no longer offering pre-orders. So the theory is this going to be digital only. And I'm starting to wonder, is this game moving from like a full-blown $60 game, or is this going to be a smaller digital release like we used to get on the 3DS for various games?
Oh, it'll still be $60. It's on Switch.
Yeah, they're just avoiding the Switch tax.
But not necessarily speaking about the amount of money it's going to cost, but about the amount of content and the quality of the game. Are we looking at less of a, Mario type title and more of a Dylan's Rolling Western type title? That makes sense.
Hard to say. I mean, for like I said, it's one of those weird things that I feel like we don't really know a huge amount about the game, and we won't probably until it gets released. As far as like how many levels are there, how much content is there, but like I said, it's definitely a really weird thing to be your kickoff to E3. This is the first trailer shown this E3 was for that game. I've not seen a ton of hype on it. I mean, they've mentioned it in their directs and stuff since, but we really don't know what to expect from that game.
Yeah, it's just making me wonder if this is going to be a lighter experience, more of a digital only type experience. I don't know what you would call those games like we had on 3DS, like Still Diver and Rusty's Real Deal, and a lot of the smaller games.
And Pushmos and stuff. I mean,
Nintendo pseudo Nindies.
It's a AA title.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, they're. I guess they're still Nintendo, so they're still AAA. But yeah, then the actual those are the ones that you should call an indie.
2D,
right.
to revisit Jason's analogy, are we going to get? To me, are we going to get a 3D Mario title, or are we going to get a 2D Mario title? Those are not remotely the same category. Those, right?
That's true.
2D Mario title is,
but I guarantee you they'll both be $60.
Yep, you bet your ass.
Because it includes the Super Luigi U DLC, so that's added value
at no extra charge. I love that they specified that at no extra charge. We're gonna throw this in. Still just 60. It's like when the butter says still 13 ounces. This is still just $60.
It must have sold enough at Donkey Kong to say. To me, Donkey Kong at $60 was the bellwether. It's like, we'll test this out at $60. If it does well enough, then we'll do Mario at $60. If not, we'll do Mario at $50. I bet you that conversation happened somewhere, and Donkey Kong must have done well enough. Or have we heard a price for Mario yet?
I don't think
I'm looking
have
into that right now,
but I'm certain
I don't know that it's been long enough for Nintendo to have learned that they need to lower the price. It'll have to be a few games do not so well.
I think they've decided that selling a game at $50 gives a perception of decreased value. I think they've decided that, and that if they sell it at 60, people have a better perceived value of the game.
You know what's kind of funny is I just went to Nintendo's website, and for the new Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe for Switch, and it says check availability at select online retailers. One of them's Best Buy, so I just click the Best Buy link. It brings me to a Super Mario Brothers 3 Wii U digital, $4.99. So, but Amazon. Amazon doesn't have a listing for it yet either. They've still got the Wii U version, which was $60. So they've got a bunch. If Amazon and Best Buy don't have it listed, I can't imagine anyone else is going to have it listed.
I still can't believe we paid $60 for that. Or if some of us did.
I didn't. It was a pack-in for me.
Oh, rock on.
Yeah, when I got my Wii U. Okay, there is a pre-order available at GameStop. They have the release date as January 11th, 2019. Price $59.99.
Yep.
So, and on the box cover, there's Luigi riding Yoshi. I feel violated.
That would just be too much green. That wouldn't look right.
It would be the ultimate green.
And they're not the same. They're not even the same green, so they would clash.
That's true.
Gee, I just don't know what to get Bobby for his birthday. Do I get him Super Mario Odyssey or New Super Mario Brothers Switch U? They're both $60, I guess. One's as good as the other.
No, actually, Wii U is the newer one, so we'll get him this. Yeah. That must be the better one. Yeah, just the balls of selling those two games for the same price. That is mind-boggling to me.
Poor kid. Maybe he'll get saved by the fact that occasionally Odyssey is on sale places.
That's true. Actually, that's going to be so bizarre. Yeah, Odyssey will be probably $50 a lot of places, and this one will be $60. It will be $10 more. Wow.
We're starting to see that more and more now. The more classic Switch titles are coming down in price, which is nice, and they'll even go further for Black Friday and Christmas.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well,
Can't wait to see what the deals are this Black Friday. Maybe we'll get a Fortnite bundle.
It's coming out next week at Target.
Yeah.
I know one Black Friday deal we're not getting, and that's Smash Brothers, because it comes out like the week after, which is just so dumb.
Brilliant on their part. Oh.
Yeah.
Who knows what they'll do? Maybe we'll get some sort of sweet limited edition 2DS. Can you imagine? Like, what if they just blow out the old school 2DS for like $10?
I don't know. It won't be that low, but it could be.
It's only like 40 now.
It could be 20 maybe or 35.
Yeah.
Wow, the old school 2DS is only $40 new.
I think so, isn't it?
I thought it was 60, which is still, the cost of a game. I think it was 60 with like Mario Kart or something, wasn't it?
It was 80 with the game?
Was it 80?
Oh, was it?
I don't remember now.
I don't remember.
I just started poking around the.
Yeah, I guess it's $79. Yeah.
Started poking around the Wii U eShop just to see what they've been doing with New Super Mario Brothers U. If they've done the same thing with Donkey Kong, where they just removed it entirely. And I think it used to be a Selects title. It was down close to the $30 mark. And now it's up to $75, at least Canadian. So that's $5 less than a full Switch title here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the old school 2DSs, or the plain old 2DS is $80.
With
Still
a game, though.
Yeah, with a game.
Mario Kart or something.
Or Super Mario 2, new Super Mario Brothers 2.
No, seriously, $40, man. I would just pick one up in the box and just throw it on the shelf. That's cheaper than a NES Mini.
Yeah, my daughter's has lasted over a year now. She still plays it almost every time.
I mean, it looks like it's designed to have the crap beat out of it. It looks right. It looks like it's designed the same way as the original Game Boy, which I always think of when I think of Nintendo's, kid-friendly, old school, indestructible type hardware. I think of the old that Game Boy, man. Like, I dropped the shit out of that thing on pavement, outdoors, right? It would roll out of the school bus, somebody's, maybe not mine, but right. How many times would somebody have it in their backpack in school and it would fall out? And, it's like, those things were indestructible.
Although my Pro Controller and Jason's Joy-Con have not been as indestructible recently.
They don't make them like they used to, man. I have a 3DS with one of the little thumb pad stick things just ain't right anymore. And that was the one that I played. That was the one that I played Smash 3DS on. I didn't break the stick, but now it's hard to explain. It's all weird and spongy and just doesn't move right anymore.
We're starting to get a little bit of drifting.
A little?
In one direction or the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the stick or are you talking about the podcast?
The sticks is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We've been on full drift the whole time.
That's all right.
But we did bring up a topic, and this will be our closing topic for this evening that I wanted to mention, and that is some new information on Pokemon Let's Go. Now, for me and for Max, I know that I like to play in handheld. This is although I don't know that either of us are picking up this game, it's some scary news. So recently, Nintendo has made the statement that motion controls aren't necessary and that you can use button controls when you play in handheld mode.
This is unfolding just like ARMS.
Right. But, however, there is no function. This is a quote. There is no function to turn off motion controls. This does not impact the player's ability to use the buttons and joysticks to play the game in handheld mode. However, IGN was at a demo event and they weren't able to get clear answers out of Nintendo from asking them questions about this. Will moving the console in handheld mode trigger those motion controls? So if you're lined up to throw a Pokeball and you drop your hands, is it going to mess up your throw?
I'm certain it is.
Yeah.
It sounds like they might patch it out before
Or if
launch.
you're playing it in a car and you go over a pothole.
You turn. Or you just make a turn or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
And they also would not confirm if you could use the buttons when playing docked on the TV. So I think it's going to go both ways in that fashion.
It may. I mean, Pokemon has always been a handheld game, and maybe they're gonna sort of keep it that way. You know, maybe you can only play it in handheld mode, and that's just gonna be that. No, but they've said you can play it on the TV. They've shown at least ostensible video of people sitting in front of a TV playing it.
I'm just saying that you won't be able to use the button controls, that you'll be forced to use motion controls.
Forced to use, like they tried to do with Odyssey.
Yeah.
They can patch that stuff. They can always patch it. And Nintendo just really, really, really wants to promote their motion controls. Because otherwise, it's like, it's the same thing with the Wii U. Can I buy one without a pad? Yeah. No, you're missing the point. Can I buy a Switch without a dock and Joy-Cons? No, you're missing the point. So I get it. They want to justify all this tech. Like, what the hell have we heard about HD Rumble? Nothing.
What if they put out a set of Joy-Cons for $30 that just didn't have the camera or the motion controls in them?
Or HD Rumble.
Or HD Rumble. People would probably still buy the crap out of them.
Well, they did. That's those hoary ones, right?
Hoary D-pad one.
Off-brand ones, yeah.
In fact, Jason could get himself one of those hoary left Joy-Cons and maybe fix his drift issue.
It could. I'm trying to work on cleaning it. To talk about what we're doing, mostly in Fortnite, I noticed this. My character drifts to the left, even without any input. And with Mo, I think his character drifts backwards.
Yeah.
And
I would. Oh, go ahead.
I've read some online, and of course, anything on Nintendo's forums is like, contact us about getting this repaired. But some other players have mentioned that they were able to clean it, and it could just be something stuck around the stick.
Just gradual dust and whatever build up. I you were asking me earlier about taking it apart, and when I very first got the thing and it was still under warranty, I cracked open the back panel and decided I didn't want to dig any further. This was right when I had that receiver issue that a lot of people had with the Bluetooth signal because, of my giant aquarium that I own.
Your roll of chicken wire.
That's surrounded by bales of chicken wire, under my television. So I had cracked it open thinking, and at the time I didn't want to pop open the front, and I've decided I will go back and do it. In your case, man, I Google up. I don't think it's that bad. It seemed like lots of people were doing their own fixes for that thing. At least, to hear the internet.
Plenty of people switching out their Joy-Con cases and stuff, with different colors.
That too.
So.
Yeah, that too. Doing various custom Joy-Con case mods. So it seems like it can't be that hard to do.
But I bet it's a pain in the ass, and it's a lot of little screws.
I will give a report on this podcast in the next few weeks when I finally get around to it, because I'm going to crack one of mine open and drop the pieces into some dye and change the color, because I got two of the grays. The grays suck. They're lame. They're boring. And it's just, I like having individual colors so that people can tell them apart. I have little kids that always grab two left ones or two right ones. And I don't know, whatever. So, and the only color I'm missing, official launch color, is the black one that was on the dev kits. So I'd like to just make a black one. The diarrhea brown and urine yellow that we get with the Pokemon sets, I am not interested in. And those will be the first two that I don't pick up.
I'm just looking for options of not replacing my Joy-Con, because I really don't want to put more money into Joy-Con, period.
Agreed. And you don't want to pay Nintendo to fix it either.
No.
If you can help it. I do some Googling, man, and like I said, I'm gonna do my dye job. I'll let you know how it goes if I end up getting the front off, sooner than you do. But I do recommend it. It does seem like most said, enough people are doing their own mods that it can't be too bad if you've got a good screwdriver and
patience.
I don't know what else. Yeah, some patience and a magnifying glass, sounds like.
Yeah.
Cool to know. Yeah. If anyone else is out there listening and happens to have had this problem and have worked on it, let us know. We'd like to hear your experience. I know that's a very user-sensitive type thing.
I've had my Pro Controller open many times, so that's what I'm noticing it on. And I did try playing a match of Fortnite in the stupid Joy-Con grip thing and had no issue when I switched to the Joy-Con. Of course, my Joy-Con are basically brand new because I never use them. The kid occasionally does because that's kind of her preferred thing because she's got the small hands and whatnot. But
the little kids love them, dude. The little kids
Yeah.
have no interest, like the ones like I had a bunch over, for the birthday party this weekend, and they love the little Joy-Cons, man. I offer them the Pro Controller. I offer them like the 8-bit Do controllers. They don't care, not
Yeah.
interested. They want those colorful little yellow candy bar things.
Well, she like Jason and Max is pretty dedicated handheld player for the most part, while I'm mostly a TV player. She likes playing Mario Odyssey in handheld mode. Joy-Cons connected. The only time she wants me to pop it up on the TV is if we're gonna do split screen Mario Kart. Other than that, or really anything co-op, but other than that, she's fine with playing handheld.
So cool.
But yeah, it sucks that it's less than 2 years and we both kind of have at least maybe minor, but still an issue.
Yeah.
They don't make them like they used to, Nintendo.
The other thing is, it's less than 2 years, and I already feel like we're in the sunset period as far as the game releases and stuff go.
It went from a very strong launch to a very sunsetty period, it seems.
The thing is, with we were Wii U adopters, so this just feels like a rerun to us.
Yeah.
But to everybody else, it's ooh.
So you think if you did not own a Wii U, that you would want to pick up a Wii U game for Switch?
You'd be like, I heard good things about this, but I didn't have a Wii U. So
and then they're gonna buy it and go. Are we talking about Super Mario?
Well, I've never played the Super Mario on Wii U.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then exactly.
Well,
and I heard that Super Mario on Wii U was good. I'm gonna get it, and then they're not gonna realize it was 3D World. They were thinking.
I would have thought that should have come out first, but I can understand that they want to do the 2D one, so as not to confuse people with the Odyssey.
Yeah, they always alternated, it seems, or somewhat alternate.
Yeah, and but Mario Kart, that's a grand slam every time. So I'll bet you they did just fine selling Mario Kart on Switch, and people are happy to buy.
Have we ever speculated on Mario Kart Deluxe DLC, whether they would add a few more tracks or something?
I don't think they are.
No, I don't think so either.
I think they're missing the boat on it. And I would buy more.
I was sure that they were going to do something with Odyssey, and now I just don't think so.
It seems like that moment has passed. If they were gonna,
yeah. But I was fully expecting them to be like, "Hey, here's a Luigi's Haunted Mansion level with booze."
They're saving it for Odyssey.
I would love to have a Mario game with booze.
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, for Odyssey, that's what I meant. I was expecting Odyssey to have some DLC.
Mario. Never mind.
Oh, by the way, since we're talking about DLC, I did
playable Bowsette.
Today is the release date for the Splatoon update, so we've got the last set of weapons being added to the game and the last stage.
What's the last stage?
Anyone remember the
hotel?
Yeah, no, it wasn't the hotel. That was because we played that during Splatfest.
Last time.
They never didn't. There's a few from Splatoon 1 they never brought back, huh?
Yeah, like that sweet. What was that neighborhood one?
That's the one I'm thinking of too.
Yeah. Where you had to climb over the buildings to get to the center.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the name of that.
Tilted Towers.
There, that's it.
I wanted to say something Towers, but that's the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know that one. That one was one I was waiting for to come back.
That one in the mall, which finally did.
Yeah. R.I.P. Splatoon 1 levels we never got.
Yeah.
Speaking
thought
of
we
DLC,
Those are our special treat for being OG on Splatoon.
Skipper Pavilion is the name of the new stage.
Sounds great.
They're running out of ideas for titles.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't get that. It's.
But if they do another one, they'll call that one Gilligan's Island.
Maybe
We'll go with Skipper's Pavilion.
Maybe Yoshi's Flippin' Island. They'll do a crossover. They jumped the shark. They jumped the shark at Snapper Canal, I think. Right. Yeah. It's been all downhill from there.
Like I said, I think we played the crap out of it during the first one to the point where the second one didn't have the impact. Although I am kind of surprised the second one didn't really seem to. I never really heard stuff about it. Like, obviously, if you look on Twitter or wherever else, there's enough of a following that you see stuff of people playing it.
It didn't blow up the way I expected either.
Yeah, I expected it to be like a revelation to people, and they're like, holy crap, this is amazing.
I expected it to be not on par with Breath of the Wild, but at least somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah, like a special thing that they were like, oh, now I see what all this fuss was about.
And it really just kind of went through like a bump in the night, and that was it.
Yeah.
It's still been their, fourth overall title for the first, year and a half or so.
It's huge in Japan, but it's like everybody in Japan played the first one too.
And you got Ross. It's being eclipsed by Breath of the Wild on one side and Odyssey on the other.
Yeah. And don't forget ARMS.
And ARMS.
Yeah.
ARMS is somewhere behind Splatoon 2 in the far distant background.
Yeah.
And then now you've got so many games on Switch. It's like, do I want the Splatoon thing for online, or do I want Mario Tennis for online?
Yeah. Where do I want to spend my $60 for a single game?
Yeah, this one didn't even have Mario in it.
2 years. Yeah, I know. But let me say, because I don't think I've mentioned it on this cast, though I've mentioned it to you guys. Kid's birthday party this weekend. What did the kids immediately all ask for? The 8 to 12-year-olds or whatever.
The PlayStation 4.
No, friggin' ARMS.
No.
Friggin' ARMS, dude. That's what they all want to play all night. One of the older kids talked him into putting in Mario Kart for a little while, and then as soon as the older kids left, back to ARMS, dude, for the rest of the night. Bizarre. I don't get it, but they nailed some demographic with that.
Yeah.
Right? There are certain kids
like
that just
motion controls.
Cool. Well, that's the thing is there was a 4-year-old that was able to walk up. I was able to just show it to him, and he could immediately. He was playing. He was actually beating people. He was beating the 8 and 10-year-olds. The kid can barely speak, but he was able to figure out what to do with motion controls. So I get there's a magic to that. But sorry, I think I was off on a tangent. Go ahead.
No, I just said kids they just love motion controls. Like my daughter,
he's not
she
quite
knows.
4, by the way.
She knows when she's playing Odyssey and she's climbing something that she can just push up. But she also occasionally catches the little prompt that says to shake it. So every now and then, just for fun, she'll shake. I'll see her shaking the switch, and I know she's climbing a little bit faster.
Didn't you do that when you were playing?
Sometimes, but I
totally. That just became. It was just a regular masturbation motion I would do whenever I was climbing.
I do it
too much information.
But anyway,
we need to end this up right here and now. I do believe.
Hey, I wanted to throw something in that wasn't on the topic list.
Sure, go for it.
I do think it's worth mentioning that RetroArch is now they've gotten RetroArch working on the Switch, and it only works with original Switches, right? First run that have the flaw with the Tegra chip. So the ones I think we all have. So RetroArch, right, it's kind of become the standard, universal old console emulator. It runs everything, and so they've got it running on Switch now. So, and depending on the power of the Switch, presumably that'll run everything up through the Wii generation at least, right? So that's to me that's a pretty big achievement. Yeah, sorry, I was dealing with other stuff earlier and didn't get a chance to throw that into the topic list myself. But I just seems worthy of note. I think we're going to be hearing more about that in the future. If if Switches ever get down a few years from now to a reasonable price that I pick up an upgrade and I just have like this extra old one lying around, I am totally going to hack it. But sorry, Jason.
No problem.
You were going to wrap up.
Yeah, we were just finishing up. That's interesting news to know. And we did predict that way back in the day that the original Switch would be the most valuable Switch to own. And I think other hackers had said that as well.
Yeah. That's the hacker Switch.
That's right.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make use of that at some point.
Crazy hackers.
All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight and staying with us. So hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. As always, you can check us out on Twitter if you want to hit us up with a question or a comment. It's at NOA_podcast. You can also hit us up here on YouTube where we do our recording. And of course, you can listen in on Stitcher and iTunes. So thanks for listening and have a good night.
Good night.
Party on, folks.